Over the past few months, I moved to Central Asia and started connecting with founders here. And I've realized something very quickly, and that is that the ecosystem here works very differently. Governments are playing a much more active role. And so what it looks like is we start with the government, and the government flows down into a state-owned bank. We have examples such as Osaka, SQB, and Aloka. And these guys, they essentially create their own venture firms, and very much so creatively named Osaka Ventures, etc. From these entities, from the state-owned banks, they invest equity into startups. And what we have now is this two-wall barrier between the government and the startup. And then the state-owned banks have a barrier here themselves between the venture departments and also the banks. If something goes wrong with the investment, it's not directly tied to the government, it's just a chain of entities which has passed through. A certain startup caught my eye, Clockster. They had just closed an investment round backed by one of Uzbekistan's largest commercial banks. Was this just a one-off investment, or are we looking at the beginning of a completely different model for funding? I wanted to understand how fundraising here differs from the West, and more specifically, what happens when your investors aren't just venture capitalists, but government-incentivized banks. We joined the founder of Clockster, Yerzhan, somewhere much more personal. The Green Bazaar.
Apart from Clockster, there were two other competitors. They already had like a pretty decent chunk of the market. To come to the point where I'm profitable and have enough clients to be able to compete with these guys, probably like 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So what we thought is that we better go to one of these competitors and convince them just to sell their assets. And the point is, like, we already knew the founder of Workly.
Yeah.
And we knew that also he's running a few other companies right now.
Yeah.
So he's not focused on this Workly company at all. We offered them, let's just do the M&A. So we'll just, we'll acquire you. By that time, UC Ventures was already part of us. I mean, like, they were our investors, so they gave us the check of 120K. So I came back to them and told them, hey, there is a quite nice idea, like a genius one. You give me the money. We also bring other investors from Uzbekistan. We cash out your local founder so that, like, you can kind of helping your ecosystem to get the money.
Because UC Ventures was already invested in Workly as well?
No.
No.
So they invested in me.
Okay.
So I told them, like, you invest in me more, I use exactly that amount of money that you give to me to cash out Workly's founder, so that we can acquire Workly and use them as a kind of like new base to push forward.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it will kind of like help. You help your founders to finally reach good exits, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Second thing is you helping us to expand.
So you talk about like helping him as if like he's like really culturally associated with like Uzbekistan and all this kind of stuff. But do they actually care about that? I mean, like, is there like a whole sort of like tribalism where they're trying to help all the Uzbeki startups? Because the guy's not like actually like fiscally related to him.
I know. The point is, in Uzbekistan, if you will just search on Google, there are not so many exit cases.
Yeah.
So each VC fund needs to somehow prove to their whoever employers they have, like the people that give them the money to play with, they need to prove that the exits are happening.
Okay.
So it kind of was win-win situation.
That's like an environmental thing rather than a direct effect.
Of course, because like once they help other exit, they kind of show it as a use case that, hey, like their exits are happening and like you can earn some money from that. There should be some hype, there should be some news about that.
Okay.
Because like if nothing is happening after like 3-4 years, the people who actually give you the money to invest in something, they start like getting doubts about that, right? So whether we need to proceed and push it forward or not. Once you have these things on the newspapers as articles that someone exited, someone increased the valuation, for them, they don't know the details. They just know that something is just boiling there, right?
Okay.
So that was the idea. Investing in us to help to cash out the other guy will help our company as Clockster to double our MRR, thus kind of like twofold, threefold our valuation.
I see what you're saying.
So that's why I'm saying like it's a win-win-win situation.
I'm just trying to understand the difference in dynamics between raising money in the West
You see, like venture capital and venture ecosystem has been working like in the US, in the West, since like early 60s maybe or 50s, like when government used to pump the money into the projects to help them to grow fast. In post-Soviet countries, it's a totally new trend, which started quite recently, maybe in early 2015 or so in Kazakhstan, and then later like in 2020s in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
So for the majority of the people who are involved into this, it's a quite new thing. They're not as experienced.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, people from whom they're trying to raise money to invest into startups, they have even less knowledge about it, how it works. It's something incomparable with the West, because like in the West, the average company that invests like tens of millions of dollars into a startup, it is usually like a tiny, like this $10 million that they invest into a startup, it's usually a tiny particle of their entire profit, like yearly profit. In Kazakhstan, for example, like if you see a venture fund or I don't know angel investor who invests like $100,000 to $200,000, that's a big chunk of his entire revenue that he made from his business.
The funds that are deploying into startups, the fund managers, they don't have much experience. And the money which they're trying to bring into these funds, the people that control that money, they have even less experience. So where do you see the cycle being broken?
It's early stage right now. In a sense, like you need time for the deals to come to a certain result when it will start like bringing you money back, so that it will convince again the people who gave you at the beginning certain amount of money to give you more.
Yeah.
But usually that's a specific life cycle. I mean, like you cannot just expect this to happen within first 5 years. No, especially in Kazakhstani market, because there are other factors. If you go to Kazakhstani bazaar and like let's say bargain with Kazakhs, now you go to Uzbekistan and bargain there, you will see the difference, the way even in terms of how to do the business and how this communication is happening. You compare it to Kazakhstan. In Uzbekistan, it goes totally different way. First of all, like let's say, I'll give you an example. You meet the person for the first time. He will never stop talking directly about the business. He will start small talks related to families. He needs to know to you. And the point is probably he will end up there, not even continuing to the business. He will maybe slightly mention something about the business, but he will then postpone it to the next time. He needs to kind of like to understand who you are before starting the business, whether I can trust you, etc.
Yeah.
In Kazakhstan, like we are more straightforward in terms of the business. We can start like from the first minute of the talk. I introduce myself and then start saying like what kind of business I'm doing and what exactly I want from you. And we start like negotiating that. I mean, this kind of little differences. In Uzbekistan in general, they've been commercial people for centuries. Like after this capitalism came finally after the Soviet break to Uzbekistan, so their main skills started to kind of like showing up. And now they use it better than, for example, again, how many factories and companies, investors they brought to Kazakhstan, to Uzbekistan compared to Kazakhstan, like this Coca-Cola, BYD, etc. We couldn't do that before because like what we we have differences in terms of how we negotiate.
Did you ever raise money from Kazakh investors?
Yes.
Was there any difference in pitching like Uzbek investors versus
most of the
Kazakh
investors that invested in me, they knew me long before this, like I came to them.
Yeah.
There was a certain level of trust. So I cannot say that it was kind of my charisma that, made it happen. No, I cannot say that because frankly speaking, I don't know, probably, I believe that most probably they invested in my company because they knew me because of my reputation and because they saw that like I am capable of building something. But not because like I came for the first time, they made me for the first time and I think I like this guy, he's super smart, here's the money. No, I don't believe in that.
And Uzbek?
Uzbeks, yes, they made me for the first time. I had to go and convince them. By the way, it took me some time. Like SQB, for example, it took me like 8 months going back and forth to Tashkent, having love with them, talking, having small talks before I finally committed them to sign the safe document.
Wow.
Yes.
How many times did you go?
SQB I met probably like 5-6 times.
Wow.
And by the way, offline, like going there physically, meeting them, because like they don't like this online shit.
And what's that? Okay, they don't. What's the dynamic like, right? Because like in SF, right? You know, as a founder that's raised money from America myself, the dynamic is kind of like you have to kind of make them beg.
Trying to create a FOMO.
Yeah, trying to create a FOMO. But is it not the same thing in Uzbekistan?
In Uzbekistan, probably like both for Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, this kind of stuff worked like 5 years ago. When there were many venture funds, like many, I mean like 5, 6, and all of them had money, didn't know where to actually put the money. Nowadays, no one has the money. Investors are choosy, so this FOMO thing doesn't work at all. So you come to them, you're trying to tell them, hey, like I'm oversuppressed. No one's gonna believe it because there's no money. Exactly.